composting. It's not that difficult. I'm going to show you a really simple system for composting everything that you produce out of your kitchen. So we have these buckets. They're just small buckets, and I've drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom. You can just see that it's just a bucket with holes in the bottom. Put it in the soil, so it's about halfway in the soil. And all you do is you take all your kitchen scraps, everything, put it in there, put the lid on. That's all there is to it. Everything that comes out of your kitchen can go in there. Meat scraps, bone scraps, everything like that. You just leave it in there, and occasionally you may have to add a little bit of water, so just check it every week or so. Keep it about half full, maybe 3/4, and that's all there is to it. And every time you have something new, you just take it, pop it in there, throw the lid back on, totally ignore it. All that stuff's going to compost down, feed your garden. Leave it there for a whole year. During the winter, it won't work as well as it will in the summertime. And in the spring, you're going to be left with some residue in there. You can dig that residue out if you want to, and just bury it about 12 inches deep in your garden. Then you're starting with a fresh pot every spring. That residue that's left is going to be all those oils and fats that you use to cook with, that are part of the meat, that are part of the vegetables, that are part of the citrus fruits that you compost. They all have oils in them, and those oils don't compost. They go rancid, yeah, but basically they just stay as oil. And eventually, once all the other stuff is used up out of your compost, that's all that's going to be in there is a big wodge of fat. If you bury that 12, 18 inches deep in your bed, that too, over time, will break down and be used by the plants and the animals in the soil. Simple compost method number 2. Everything that you produce in your kitchen is stuff that you need in your garden eventually, once it breaks down. So if you have things in your kitchen that are like raw vegetables that are left over, like maybe you have a bell pepper that you left in the cupboard a little too long, those you can bury pretty shallow, maybe 3-4 inches. And all you do is you just take them and you just bury them just like that. You don't have to worry about that at all. In 2-3 weeks, you can dig that spot up. You'll never find a trace of it. Things that are cooked, because when you cook things, you use oils and other things on them. You want to bury a little deeper. So if it's just vegetable stuff, you should bury that. This shovel is about 8-10 inches. So that's about where I'm going to bury this stuff. It's been cooked for the most part. Some of it hasn't, but most of it has been cooked. So I'm just going to put that in a little hole. I'm going to tamp it down, and then I'm just going to put the soil back on top. Just like that. When I come back to this in 3 or 4 weeks, you'll never be able to find even a remotest trace of that material that you just put in there. It's also possible to break down meat products, like if your favorite chicken dies or whatever, which they're going to do eventually, provide you with 20 years of eggs and then they die. What do? Well, bury it in your bed, but don't bury it 6-8 inches deep. You need to bury that about 12 to 18 inches deep, because you don't want to attract raccoons and other things that are going to dig it up. So if it's about 12 to 18 inches deep, it's not going to smell onto the surface, and those critters won't be able to smell it, and therefore they won't dig it up. And it's the same thing. You just find a spot in your garden bed where you don't have a plant at the moment, and bury it down there. In 6-8 weeks, you can try to dig that up, but you'll never find it. And maybe it will take a year, but all the bones will also break down. So that is 2 super simple composting systems that you should use in your home to take care of all your home composting.